Welcome out to another episode of It's All Been Tracked Before. This time, the Ambergris Element, or is it Ambergris? I think it is Ambergris. It's swimming. There's a lot of swimming in this episode. You know, you watched it. Otherwise, I don't know why you're listening anyway. Anyway, speaking of, coming up this Saturday at Mad Lab Theater, it's the mothership, the It's All Been Done radio hour live at Mad Lab. This month, they're doing the theater rent's going on at Mad Lab, madlab.net, tickets available. So the IABD guys, the IABD radio hour guys, did a little bit of their own kind of thing. They made their own roulette. They did their own shows, their own series. And is it versions of the current series or just...
They're shorts written by a variety of writers.
There you go. Jimmy-Jerome helping out here. So
10 segments, averaging about 8 minutes each.
I'm more excited than I was. Yeah, so come check that out. It's a month of shorts in May. IABD, stick around afterwards. Check out Mad Lab's Theater Roulette. But yeah, do that. You know I'm going to mention it. Go to Patreon.com. Patreon, not Patreon.com/IABD. And you can get everything, all the programming here. IABD Presents.com. But you can help support all that programming by going to Patreon.com/IABD. Give $1, give 10, give 20, give 100, and you will probably will buy you the lot that you will be buried in should you ever die. Donate 1,000, you will get immortality from the IABD network. Speaking of immortality, you know what else is immortal? Books. They don't really go away. I mean, might go out of print, but if you read them, they'll always be in your mind somewhere. The Quarterly Book Club. It's All Been Presents has Quarterly Book Club. Why quarterly? Because you're busy and books are long. In its third year, they're reading young adult novels for 2019. The latest, I think it's the latest, we mentioned this a couple episodes ago, Point, P-O-I-N-T-E, Claw, by Amber J. Kaiser. Point Claw, that sounds like a title for one of the animated episodes. Anyway, check that out, and then watch the folks discuss it. Samantha, and you never know who's going to show up with her to discuss it. The Quarterly Book Club. Why books are long. This is long. It's the Ambergris Element. I bet we didn't talk that long about it either on It's All Been Trekked Before.
Welcome out to another episode of It's All Been Trekked Before. Skeleton Crew.
This is Steven.
Jimmy-Jerome, and that's it.
Yeah.
Unless Zoe decides to speak up, but she didn't watch the episode, so she shouldn't.
She might. I could see her chiming in.
She might have opinions.
She just might.
We're here to talk about the Ambergris. Is that how you say it? Ambergris?
I thought at one point they said
Ambergris?
Like the S was silent?
Ambergris?
Yeah.
Sure. Ambergris Element, as always, directed by Hal Sutherland. Did he direct? I think he directed all of them.
I think he did.
Written by Margaret
friend, Margaret Armen,
who wrote a number of original series episodes: The Cloudminders, The Paradise Syndrome, The Gamesters of Triskelion, and a previous episode of the animated series, The Lorelei Signal. Yeah. None of those episodes do I think of favorably.
None of them are great. I know I liked Cloudminders and Paradise Syndrome more than you.
Yeah.
Gamesters of Triskelion, I think we felt the same about. And probably The Lorelei Signal.
I think I'm prepared to say, of her 5 episodes, this is probably my favorite. I'm not saying this is a great episode, but I think this is better than the Cloudminders or Gamesters or Lorelei.
Wow.
It's still, at best, middling for me.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm not advocating it's up there with yesteryear. I'm just saying, her really crap stuff, this is slightly less crappier. In my opinion.
I know I'm a bigger Cloudminders person. I like Cloudminders, but I like Paradise. Wait, I'm mixing up Paradise Syndrome and this side of Paradise. Okay.
I think so.
This might be more in the Paradise Syndrome range for me. Okay, yeah. Sorry, I was thinking this side of Paradise. Okay.
Well, they should have put Paradise in 2 titles.
I think I only like Cloudminders better.
Yeah. So, I mean, just comparing to her other work, you think this is one of her better episodes or worse?
I would say Cloudminders is my favorite, maybe just because of Droxina and Vanna. I think it's around Paradise Syndrome.
Yeah.
Yes, Paradise Syndrome. Gamesters just killing it as when we did it and go back to this podcast. I was surprised how much I did not care for it this time around.
Yeah.
I think back then I always just was so in love with
the costumes and the makeup and all that.
What's her name? Shoshana.
Yes.
Not Shoshana.
Shauna.
Angelique Petty John.
I get that.
And then Lorelei Signal actually is the same as Gamesters Triskelion.
Mm.
Yeah, A Planet of Beautiful Women. This sounds pretty awesome. It's okay.
I do think I'm starting to think after watching, we're more than halfway through, Majel is a more talented voice actress than James Doohan.
That's an upset I didn't see coming, yeah.
I mean, I wouldn't say she's great.
Tremendous.
Right. I mean, I think most of the Radio Hour cast could probably be
yes.
there.
Again, it's a...
But this episode was weird because she was voicing two different females. And the one female, I was like, okay, this is a little bit different. It's subtle. I like it. And then the other one, like, her first line had some weird accent, and then it immediately disappeared and sounded just like the other one. And I don't understand. Did they decide her accent was just bad and they didn't want her to do it and they forgot to replace the line?
There's a lot of sloppy, lazy things. Like, I wonder how compressed their schedule was to get this together.
Oh, very compressed.
Yeah,
because this animation studio was churning it out like factory.
So much.
I mean, all the white silhouettes of Kirk and Spock swimming are lazy.
Whenever you pointed out, oh, they're white swimming, then immediately they flip to, oh, they're in shadow somehow all of a sudden. Because they weren't swimming.
When they were black in shadow, which they did a couple times, I get that. Right. I don't agree with it, but I get it. Sure. The white was just like, oh, we drew the outline and forgot to fill in the colors. Yeah. Like, you actually saw lines on them. It wasn't just a white shape.
And I guess and I wrote down, I kind of like the trippiness of this series as we move through it. But
maybe this series would be better if we were high instead of drunk.
It would be.
We should have turned in our alcohol for.
I think they all would be, and I think part of it is the halfwayness. Like, if they just were to, like, we're gonna make this whole thing crazy, trippy, so like you feel like you should be on drugs or not at all, or somewhere in the middle. I mean, it's gonna be trippy to us, I think, just because it's to anybody, just because it's from the 1973, late 1973. But
I mean, Tokolati would probably love it.
She would, very much so.
Very sturdy.
But yeah, there's so many weird things like that as we've gone through of just like, we missed this. Sorry, we're in a hurry. And I think that goes back to the voices too. Like, we could get somebody. They do have a guest, at least one guest voice in this episode. But
in this episode,
Lou.
Oh, Lou Scheimer.
Yeah, who.
Uncredited.
I meant to listen to the voice because I can't remember how it goes, but he was Dumb Donald on Fat Albert.
Interesting, and a producer for Fat Albert.
Yeah. He did a lot of voices on He-Man and some other stuff.
Primarily a producer. It looks like 70 credits as a producer.
So I think
only
Dumb Donald
as an actor, and 8 credits as a composer.
Huh. Dumb Donald was the guy with the hat over his eyes.
Oh, okay.
And I think he talked like this, I think.
Oh, I think I remember that.
Because I used to think he was the guy that talked like this. But that's the guy with the hat on top of his head. Whereas Dumb Donald had it over his eyes and stuff. So,
he was also Tracy the Gorilla in the original Ghostbusters.
Yeah, that's right.
And Orko and other voices in He-Man and the
He did a lot of it on the He-Man show, yeah.
Gremlin on Flash Gordon. The television series.
Interesting. I don't remember Flash Gordon, the TV series.
Yeah, it must have been animated, I would think. Nikima and Tarzan.
Yeah. Speaking of Tarzan and
Batman.
Filmation.
Yeah.
I was listening to one of our earlier podcasts, Breaking the Fourth Wall, and I mentioned that I watched the Shazam Tarzan Hour, which Filmation did. Completely wrong. It was the Batman Tarzan Hour, which was animated, which was followed by the Shazam Isis, which was kind of a live-action thing.
Interesting.
And if anyone wants to do a rewatch of the ISIS live-action series, I'm willing to do that. They're only 10, 15-minute episodes, so we can go through the whole catalog very quickly.
Well,
ISIS is beautiful. Anyway.
Sure. He also voices 2 more episodes of this show coming up. Okay. So this is the first of 3 appearances. Right. But yeah, he was in the New Adventures of Batman animated. And he also, apparently there was an animated series, must have been a fan-made series, recently, like less than 10 years ago, called The Starship Farragut, the animated episodes. And he voiced a couple episodes of that as well.
Huh. Interesting.
So, including a Romulan commander, and he plays a Romulan guard in an upcoming episode of the animated, so maybe it's the same character. Interesting.
There you go.
Anyway, doesn't matter. Yeah, I didn't even realize that there was another voice in there. That's interesting.
And it was weird that he ends up guest starring as, but I guess since he was a producer and all that stuff.
Yeah.
Hey, how about I do it for free or whatever, so.
Well, this was only his second acting credit.
Oh, well, there you go.
So, yeah, he was still new to the acting world.
And he just passed away not too long ago. It was 2013 or 2014, I think.
That's not that long ago.
Yeah.
Well, 2013.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I mean, I guess it was kind of long ago. He was 85.
So he wasn't here. I was dating a different girl.
Yeah, I hadn't found Mad Lab yet.
There you
I
go.
think I
See?
did there
There you
once,
go.
the old
Yeah.
theater. So yeah,
So long
it was a
ago.
very different world.
It was. Obama was still president.
Oh. I did think that if the fish people wanted to keep Kirk and Spock out, they should just build a wall.
Yep, that would have worked.
I mean, they wanted to keep the
would've
outsiders
worked.
that looked different than them that they didn't trust out.
Yep.
So even though there was no real threat, I'm just surprised the lead didn't declare a national emergency and build it.
It was a weird approach, and as always, there's just one little area where everyone lives on the planet, we think.
Sure. Yeah, they kept going back to the same spots.
Yeah.
And we kept seeing the same sea creature
Yeah.
that got buried under rubble twice.
There should have been several of those. Maybe there were different ones.
No, they weren't. It was one. Or they didn't bother to change the animation. Like
Maybe Sir Snakes all look the same to us.
I guess I have found my racism as well. Like
It's about Sir Snakes.
I feel like there was the makings of a good episode here. I feel like some of it was rushed. There were some weird leaps. I
Yeah.
don't think it should have been longer. I just think it should have
No.
been better constructed.
Yeah.
Because it got boring as it was. So I don't want to double the length.
I don't know if it's less than the sum of its parts. Yeah, it probably adds. Yeah. Actually, it's exactly the sum of its parts. Its parts should have been better, which would have added up to a better episode.
Sure.
That's.
There were some very interesting concepts. They just really simplified and rushed them.
Yeah, I mean, the idea of a water world, which, again, Water World, the movie, ripped off Star Trek.
Absolutely. I thought I saw
kinda
Kevin Costner peeing in the background of
Yeah,
one scene.
exactly.
I was right.
Exactly.
Okay, good.
And the idea of a world of the idea that at one time they were above water and then they evolved very quickly, wasn't that
Through science.
Through science.
Yeah. They purposely evolved themselves.
That's right. I think that's a really cool concept.
I do too.
You mentioned Atlantis, it was just kind of an illusion there.
But the example of what I'm talking about with the rushing thing is, okay, we just happened in this giant sea to wander back on the same village. Then through them we went and found this old ancient sunken village. And then even though we changed the episode of the earthquakes through phasers, don't get that at all. And that was the technology they were excited to take away from this, which there was no time spent on it. It just happened.
Yeah.
Then that same sunken city got back above ground somehow, and it already had grass.
Right. Did they hit it so that the earthquake shot it up?
It was not well explained.
And I feel like they go back and forth with the accuracy of phasers.
Yeah.
Like some episodes they can be precise. Like
Sure.
the apple, I think of when we're going back to the original series.
When they shot the apple off Sir Isaac Newton's head?
Exactly.
Okay.
Well, William Tell's son.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And then other times they're like, we can't possibly hit that. It's like, although, I guess Patterns of Four, a Piece of the Action they talk about. We'll knock out the whole block and all that stuff. But anyway, they called them phaser beams. Has that happened?
I think so.
Have they called them phaser beams?
I think so.
Okay.
I could be wrong.
It
but
makes sense if you're laser phaser beams, I guess. But
sure.
Yeah.
The beginning, like, their sensors didn't find the life forms again, which was weird because there were a lot of them.
Speaking of things that sometimes they work right and sometimes they don't.
Yeah, and just, I liked the glowy field they put on to go underwater.
Yeah, what? I didn't
really
understand the science of that.
It was a force field.
Okay. So it's
I guess you could
walking
trap
around
oxygen within it.
walking around with a deflector shield.
Yeah, and you could trap oxygen within it.
I like that
It
idea.
looked like you'd keep that much oxygen because it was pretty
You wouldn't need
narrow.
a Secret Service then. You could just put a
Right.
deflector shield around you and that's
Let's do our fashion real quick.
fashion.
So after Kirk and Spock get transformed, should they just stay in their uniforms the whole time?
That's exactly what I had. I'm like, why didn't they change?
Yeah, I mean, I think the fish people would have put them in more appropriate clothing. Or if they did it, when they went back to the Enterprise, they would have changed before coming back down.
Although, was it just the last episode we talked about their clothes were made out of algae?
Yes.
But would that have been better or worse when you're in water?
I mean, it looked like they still hung the same.
Right.
There was no indication in this episode of a character being wet.
Yeah,
Which was another big flaw.
Exactly. And I don't know how they filled that. They kept talking about it as an aquarium, which I thought
Sure.
the sick bay just happened
sick
to have
bay tank?
Yeah.
I assumed that was like a quarantine tank that they
makes
just filled
sense.
with water.
Yeah.
But I don't know how they got in and out of it.
Well, and there was a lot of things that made in this episode that were like, oh, the Enterprise is built for water. I didn't know that there was such a thing as an aqua shuttle.
That was pretty cool. But then after,
They might have stole that from James Bond.
But then after their aqua shuttle / submarine like went underwater and got beat up by the sea creature, then they come back in a motorboat. And
That's
you're
the
like,
next
what
part.
the heck?
There's an Enterprise. How did that even get there?
I I will buy that they could have the parts to put together a motorboat real quick, but when your more protected, more shielded shuttle just got destroyed, you don't go back in a dinghy. It's like in Jaws. If they were in like a Coast Guard big ship and it got destroyed, and they're like, let's go out in a rowboat and see if we can catch Jaws. No,
we need a bigger boat.
Right, not a smaller, more more fragile.
So did they beam down all the parts and put it together down there? Because
I don't know.
There
was this very false urgency too, where it's like, we gotta hurry because there's an earthquake. Now we're fighting it. We're calm again. Now we gotta hurry. Now we're calm again.
Well, why did
now we got 3 minutes?
I didn't understand why they took a shuttle in the first place.
Yeah.
Second, then they wait 5 days
to find Kirk and Scott.
To go back down.
Well, I think they were searching the whole 5 days.
That I believe.
But then they wait 2 days after being them back up.
Right.
The timeline was ridiculous.
The Enterprise motorboat.
Days will seem like hours. Hours will seem like minutes.
Now we only have minutes instead of hours. I didn't understand. I mean, I love the idea that they have all these different...
Sure.
And it makes sense.
They just need to do it better.
But yeah, and obviously it's things that they couldn't have possibly done in the original series.
So I said it should have been longer, but I guess I could see a 50-minute live-action episode based on the Society where we actually learned about the Society more and got into it more. They just have to add a lot more to the story and explain away these weird coincidences. Because the coincidences kill it.
It's the water planet. That's the episode, I guess. I mean, and the people there, like I said, there are some...
The Argo.
Argo.
The Iran crisis ripped off Star Trek.
It did. Speaking of, while we're on stealing things from Star Trek, this is our Star Wars stealing from Star Trek part of the episode. One, the aquarium for in sick bay in Empire Strikes Back. They treat Luke.
Yeah.
On the Hoth, and then the Sur Snake, it grabbing the shuttle and all that. Phantom Menace, very similar to Phantom Menace when they go through there. There's always a bigger fish. So,
while we keep talking about the Sur Snake, I want to reveal my alternate episode,
all right.
Which is they get some transparent aluminum, make a cargo hold, and beam up a Sur Snake for whatever reason to take to the other planet.
Oh yeah.
Very like Star Trek 4 whale style.
Mm-hmm. My alternate episode is that at the end it's like the Incredible Mr. Limpet.
Yeah.
And one of them decides, I want to stay a fish.
Oh, Kirk or Spock?
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
This is where you need the red shirt. And you need...
you need, whatever the guy that was that we thought was Scotty in the shuttle. Mr. Canyon or something.
Clayton,
that's him. He should have been...
That Jamie Doohan also voice?
Make him become a fish... And then he falls in love with one of those women, or he's in love with a woman on the Enterprise, but he's decided I really want to be a fish. Then you got the pathos.
Had this been in prime
the Incredible Mr. Limpet.
Kirk would have fallen in love with one of the fish women.
Yes.
That was cut for Saturday morning.
And at some point they would have been putting their boots back on or whatever. Because the fish people had legs, right?
Oh, yeah.
Because they were land dwellers. Yeah. That's right, yeah.
Where I felt we really needed a red shirt the most was when the antitoxin wasn't really working on Kirk.
Yeah.
And it's like, we should have had a red shirt die. And then they're like, nope, you still have to take this last dose. That whole sequence was stupid.
Yeah.
McCoy, just guessing as a doctor was dumb. He couldn't synthesize more toxin. And then they acted like, Kirk's our guinea pig. If it works on Kirk, we'll just put it on Spock, even though he's a completely different physiology.
Well, and there's that element of, that's where you can tell it's a Saturday morning cartoon because McCoy's just explaining everything that's happening.
Yeah.
On some level, I guess maybe you do need it, but on the other hand, if we were just watching that, like, oh, something weird's going on, and then after the fact, like, this must have happened, rather than, this is going on. This is, whatever. I overdid it. I underdid it. I didn't do enough. Get him out of here.
Where I felt the Saturday morning cartoon the most, other than Kirk not having a love interest, was when the rocks fell on the sea creature, they cut away so you don't actually see the rocks fall on the sea creature. I mean, that's kind of ridiculous sanitizing. That's taking it too far.
Yeah. Spock referred to that, speaking of the Sur Snake, as the large maroon creature.
Instead of marine?
I think it was... Oh, maybe he did say marine. It sounded like he said maroon to me.
It might have. He might.
Yeah.
Maybe it was a typo in the script and he just read it.
And I was thinking about why a lot of the creatures on the cartoon series, I'm just kind of like, all right, they're kind of cool, but they seem kind of weird. They all have kind of googly eyes, like they're a stuffed animal. They got those googly eyes put on them, rather than, so they don't seem as sinister. They seem silly. I don't know. I feel like there's got to be a way around it. There's sinister looking cartoons.
Sure.
But yeah, they all seem to have googly eyes. And I'm glad they caught it while it was sleeping, because they'd have been awake when they came upon it. And then they killed it. At least one Sur Snake they killed. After they got the venom. It's not enough venom. How would Kirk know? How much venom would it take? That thing's gigantic.
I mean, if they got more venom, maybe they would have had to test it on Kirk. They could have...
What was the thing they put it in?
I don't know. Did you notice that Kirk and Spock clearly were carrying 4 canisters out of the sunken city, but then there were 6 on McCoy's table? Probably not. That was nitpicky, but I noticed.
Maybe McCoy processed them like he did the Ritalin or Ritalin during
If he
the Cloudminders episode. Wasn't that? Oh, no. Sorry. That was Requiem for Methuselah.
Yeah.
I thought I had a connection.
No. I think the reason I kind of like this episode, the reason I like it more than the others, is the underwater city and the evolution were interesting concepts.
Yeah.
They just didn't develop them.
And there's that whole element of the dumb kids, the hippies. Trying to do
the
new
dumb
things.
kids who are clearly adults.
Yeah.
These had to be like people in their 20s, and the other people must have been like in their 90s and called them kids just because.
Did we know how long ago? It felt like it had to be a long time ago that they got sunk underwater. Right?
Yes.
Okay.
Because they had said they went through a bunch of generations before it became natural.
This is another so-called advanced species that's very backwards.
Yes.
More or less relies on religion.
Yes.
In my mind.
Ordinances.
Yeah.
That they always break.
Yeah.
Except these next ones we're going to make, we're not going to break those.
So, yeah. That was a weird ending, cheesy.
So the sequel, The Next Generation, comes back, and they go down, and they have all the opposite problem where the young people are on the Earth, and they're the ones that are crotchety and old, and the young people in the water want to rejoin, and they're like, no, you guys chose to be backwards. And then they build a wall.
Yeah, all that stuff was cool, and again, kind of like I was talking about the trippiness and stuff. Like they didn't go all the way with it. They got the hormone, and I'm guessing the webbed hands and everything, gills made them better swimmers.
Yes.
Okay, because
they're very fast.
They were amazing swimmers after.
Even though they were still in the boots and everything.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. They should have changed clothes.
Like, I mean,
were their feet webbed too?
They came up with a Federation motorboat and all that other stuff. Why there should be a Federation issue swimsuit?
I'm saying the feet, they would have been able to swim much more effective if they let their webbed feet out of those boots.
Yep. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it would make sense their feet would be webbed too, right?
Yes, into big flippers. It is a good thing, though, the medical symbols that somehow had, like, sea creatures on them, even though they were still on land, were similar to our medical symbols, so we could tell what they were. And McCoy could read the language perfectly. I was very impressed, because McCoy's normally so backwards.
He's very, gets all crotchety. Yeah.
He must have took Ambergris as a second language in high school. I don't even know if I'm using the term Ambergris correctly. I don't think they identified themselves as Ambergris. They were like the Aqua something. I don't know.
I feel like they said it just one time, and I don't remember.
They said it a couple times, but I don't remember.
Is that what the hormone was, I guess, maybe?
They were Aquans.
Aquans, that's
what... Aquans.
Oh, that's very creative.
Yeah, the Ambergris, maybe it wasn't the hormone. I'm not sure. Yeah, Aquans? Yes, super creative. I mean, I don't know how they thought of that.
I did appreciate the water sounds. It all sounded like swishy. There's like Yellow Submarine, like swishy. Actually, literally, when they were in the tank at the end, it sounded like they were in an aquarium.
I give them credit for the visual of the tank, though, because we saw
I did like the wavy water and stuff. Yeah, I did like that, too. And when they were underwater, they do that long shot, like, okay, the water would be rippling a little bit here.
Sure.
I was talking about the trippiness. I think I've decided I like the kind of understatedness of, like, Shatner and Nimoy always because he's Spock or whatever. Mm-hmm. And even McCoy, to an extent, isn't as irascible, or at least isn't voiced as irascibly, if that's a word. For whatever reason, I feel like I've come around. I kind of like it, for better or worse. It just suits, I think, the entire thing, because there's enough drama with the music.
The music's awful. It's so much worse in the animated series.
Yeah, like I know Keith and we all would joke about the stingers on the original series, but God, in the animated series and they only have like 7 pieces of music. Like the original series didn't have a ton, but they used them right. More. Yeah. They used them, and they used them more sparingly, and it's just it's a Saturday morning cartoon at the end of the day. But.
I was looking over the goofs on IMDb, and they mentioned that why didn't Kirk just order the shuttle to lift off when they were being attacked?
Right.
Which I thought so too, but apparently Alan Dean Foster in his novelization had him give the order, and then the crewman was like, oh, the engines were damaged by the snake. I wish we would have seen that.
I'm trying to remember shuttles having phasers.
Yeah.
Have we seen it before now?
I think so. At least some of them do. I think some of them do, some of them don't. It's funny that the submarine one had them, though.
It had them, and they could shoot out the rear.
Yeah, that was different.
Yeah. so they could shoot the search tank.
So, Dr. Jillian from the Voyage Home.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. They mentioned that she goes to a water-based planet to recruit some beings to work with whales.
Oh.
So now I've got a new alternate episode is Star Trek 4.5, the film. She goes to this planet to get people to come back and help with the whales.
So, do they mention at the end they're going to take her there?
They just mentioned at the end that she's going to a similar to a water-based planet. They never mentioned this
Argo.
planet. Must be.
They probably would have said Argo, but by then it was probably classified.
Right.
After what happened in 1979,
Sure.
1980.
Absolutely.
Yeah. I saw the movie. I don't remember that.
I do too, but yeah, I don't remember the dates. Yeah, it was very good.
Yeah.
Let's get to our rankings then. Unless you don't have any more notes.
I do not.
That's
No,
fine.
that was it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Any females strike your fancy here? Did you like the main one? Was named Rilla.
Rilla. Yeah, I liked her. Who was my previous?
You still have Devna from the Time Trap. I have Devna as well. I'm gonna look her up. She was the Orion woman.
Oh yeah, I'm sticking with her.
Yeah,
I was thinking of switching my green-skinned woman, but
no, I'm sticking with Devna as well.
I did like Rilla. I did like her.
Rilla, but not enough. Not as much.
Not
as
quite enough. Yeah. So
well, it's hard to knock an Orion woman off of your perch.
It really is.
Ranking this episode. Let's start with the Time Trap. Last week's episode. Do we like this better or worse than Time Trap?
I think I like this better.
Really?
I think I might.
Huh.
Maybe. What's below that?
The Magics of Megas 2.
Oh, all right. It's above that.
It is above that. I agree with that.
You know what? Let's move it down.
But I put it below the Time Trap. That story at least made sense.
Yeah.
But I'm cool with sticking it there, right above the middle.
I think Magic's is a good hard stop going down.
Yeah. Those are like the really bad ones.
Yeah, I feel like we'll hit some more, but
yeah,
I know we will because we're just fast.
So this is the bottom of the not really bad ones.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. Hard stop.
Okay. Yeah, I think it's better than Time Trap. I really do. I mean, I just remember that one actually making sense, that their mission and all the people. Next week, the Slaver Weapon.
Not a good title.
No. Spock, Uhura, and Sulu discover an ancient multi-use weapon and are captured by the Kzinti, who are equally interested in it.
Okay.
So we will get Jimmy Doohan voicing Kzintis. No Scotty, according to IMDb.
Oh.
Shuffed Captain, Kzinti Telepath, and Kzinti Flyer are his people.
Well, maybe since he doesn't have to devote any time to Scotty, he can throw all of his voice acting ability into the
Kirk and McCoy are listed as credit only. So this may be a non-lead character. Spock, Uhura, and Sulu on a shuttle.
Yeah, I was going to say, I think this is I think none of this next episode takes place on the Enterprise.
Really? That'll be different.
Yeah.
I don't know if there was a single original series episode that ditched the Enterprise. Certainly none that ditched Kirk and McCoy. McCoy set out like one episode at the very beginning. But
there were definitely episodes that took place only on the Enterprise.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I don't think we had an original series episode. I think this will be the first one.
Yeah.
Without the Enterprise. And without Kirk, for sure.
Yeah.
Other than the cage, which didn't count.
Yeah.
Okay. It will reinforce once more that Spock's the only one in every episode. Until then, live long and don't drown.
Make sure you know how to swim. Exactly. Teach your children and your friends. Learn how to swim.
It's All Been Done presents
Who's Got the Time?